how come Boogie Cousins wasn't landed here? I know it's kind of ridiculous to say, well, you got LeBron, but how the hell did you not get Boogie Cousins when he walks to Golden State for that price?
Well, I mean, it's not a ridiculous question in the sense that if you're bringing in LeBron, you're in win now mode. And this is a team that's, I think, going to play slower than they have the last couple seasons, because even though LeBron is this demon in transition, he's unstoppable, he tends not to play very fast. LeBron's teams tend not to be one of the higher paced in the league. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, Boogie Cousins actually could be a good fit, post Achilles tear and, the recovery that we know he's going to be going through. I don't know if there was concern about there being, too much personality in that locker room, between the guys that they brought in, then you add DeMarcus.
I don't know. I think they've reached peak personality at this point in time. I think you're just adding to the mix.
If I was Birdman, I'd start dusting off my resume.
Yeah, I mean, but when it all comes down to it, winning is the ultimate deodorant, right?
Yes, it is.
For anything that's a problem. I can't imagine. That starting five in Golden State. So coming off the bench, one would think Iguodala,
yes,
and Livingston, and all these other young kids that have gotten their feet wet.
Yeah, Jordan Bell, he had a nice season.
Steve Kerr mixing it all together. How the hell does this team
lose?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, what's crazy about them bringing in Cousins is that he still might not end up part of their death lineup. You know what I mean? Like what they have is so great.
What Iguodala would be the fifth.
Yeah, Iguodala could still be the fifth.
Crunch time.
Yeah, between the way the modern NBA tends to work, where bigger players have been run off the floor, and also just if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, I mean, the Warriors throughout. Let's dig into this a little bit more. Andy Kamenetzky here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, because normally the center position, as I said at the top of the show, like the Washington Generals of their Globetrotter, right? Yeah. That the guy is easily the spot where it's just like a throwaway. But the throwaway can have great games, and it's not really a throwaway in the first quarter. Usually that's when the Bogut, Zaza, McGee, first and third quarters, they would come in and make a difference, if not a palpable difference. Boogie Cousins could be like a crunch time guy, as you point out. Now that's a different story. Won't that be some form of a chemistry mix that needs to be handled?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it depends on how DeMarcus wants to approach this. And, he's clearly really excited. And this is a great setup for him because he can rehab at his own time, get back when he's truly ready, and there's no pressure. But also, too, I mean, Boogie could potentially be in line to stay with this team if, say, Klay Thompson gets an offer from, I don't know, the Lakers down the stretch and decides that he's ready to go, or Draymond Green is considered too expensive. Kevin Durant, we've heard before, at times gets dissatisfied with what he has there. Here's the chirping of, he took the easy way out, so maybe Durant looks for a bigger challenge. Boogie Cousins could be potentially ingratiating himself to his next team. And maybe the replacement for one of those guys is Boogie Cousins if he comes back healthy, because he's certainly got the talent to match.
I don't know. I mean, we're going to talk about this with Ray Ratto, who's calling in from the Bay Area in hour number 3. It just seems to me that these guys understand how special it is what they've got. They're also becoming generationally wealthy, too. It's not like they're making chump change. And this ownership, the luxury tax to them, it's approaching $40 million. What the hell do they care?
Walking around money.
Well, I mean, certainly they're moving into their new arena in San Francisco. Their brand is internationally famous now. I mean, it must be making money hand over fist. They just keep printing it as long as they keep winning.
And what I think is really interesting, too, about bringing Boogie in is we saw the Warriors over the course of last season on the way. It's weird to say that it's about a team that swept its way to in the finals to a championship, but they were looking bored. And they were often looking disinterested. And at times they looked vulnerable just because they couldn't find that edge. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you need to bring in somebody new who hasn't been there before, who brings a different dynamic. Like, it reminds me a lot of in 2010 when the Lakers brought in then Ron Artest, now Metta World Peace. He was the only guy on that team, I covered that team, who hadn't won a championship. Otherwise, they ran back the 2009 team, except for Trevor Ariza, then now Ron Artest. Mm-hmm. And Artest brought a different energy. He brought a different urgency. And he also so badly wanted to win that championship because he wanted to prove I'm not going to be the guy that screws it up. Because everybody's wondering, okay, what's Ron Artest going to do to the chemistry of this team? Boogie Cousins may have that exact same mindset. I don't want to be blamed if this doesn't work. And that could be really valuable for the Warriors.
Well, I think Steve Kerr is going to be the ultimate decider on this working or not. And I think that's all you need to know as how it's going to work. I mean, he knows. He's been around. I mean, he's been around Rodman. He's been around everything. He knows this. I mean, that was a great piece that I read during the playoffs about him, and I mean Howard Beck writing a piece about him and Draymond having it out and how they've come together.
I mean, once you've been punched in the face by Michael Jordan, nothing really scares you from that point. I mean, there's not much that's going to intimidate you.
That is in fact a very high bar to leap over.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.